Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cherry the Geek TV. I'm Joe Vanourney. Today we are joined by Billy Harris. You know him from shows like The Outlaws and, of course, as Colin Hughes on Ted Lasso. He can now be seen as Puck in the Sisters Grimm. All episodes of the Sisters Grimm, which is a brand new fantasy adventure series, premiere on Apple TV Plus starting Friday, October 3rd. Billy, welcome to Cherry the Geek TV.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Before we talk about Puck, set the show up for people. What is the Sisters Grimm?
Great. Yeah, so it is two girls go to see their relative who lives in Ferryport Landing, and then they start to find out that they are related to the Brothers Grimm, which they are descendants of the Brothers Grimm. And now we're all familiar with the stories. So they are trying to basically, investigate their own identity, I guess. And then there's a few great characters, fun characters, some scary characters, everything that we want in, a full-bodied kid show.
And you play Puck. Who is Puck? How does he fit into the story? And what do you like about this character and the show, The Sisters Grimm, that made you want to be a part of it?
Yeah, well, I think obviously we're all familiar with Puck being from A Midsummer Night's Dream. There's tons and tons of references online about him. But what was great about this was that, he is in Ferryport Landing and he's one of the many mythical, characters that we know from history. And he has develops a really cool relationship with the two girls. And what I enjoy is that at the beginning he's a prankster, he's silly, he's doesn't necessarily want to be a companion to them in your stereotypical sense of like just I'm gonna support you girls. He's very silly and they have to warm to him and his way. He seems to be very set in his ways. I mean, he's like 3,000 years old, so obviously he's got a few bad habits that he should iron out. And yeah, but what as an actor saw that there was a good arc and he then softens and he then starts to have a really cool relationship with these girls and is a really great guide and a really cool companion with them along with them on their journey.
Now, this is not your first voiceover work. You've done things like the Audible drama, the
Yeah.
Moriarty series, which is more of a serious
Yeah.
work. What do you like about doing with voiceover work in comparison to live action acting? And
Yeah,
does
yeah.
And does the fact that this Puck character is more of a trickster and more comedic, does that give you more freedom when you're creating the voice and getting to do your
I
thing?
think so. Yeah, there was a lot of times, especially because I was doing it. A lot of the people that were directing me were American, so there was a lot of times where I could, say I'm British, I'm English, I would say it like this or whatever. And being a comedy and being silly, there is a lot of takes where you can do it many different ways. And comedy, that what I learned on Ted Lasso, is like, you can. There's so much, so much to expand on. And yeah, it's so funny that, obviously the Audible stuff. I always keep saying that this is my first, like, it is my first animated series, but it's not my first voice job. But it feels so different to the Moriarty Audible work because when I was in the recording studio for this, I just got to be so silly and so I just got to scream and shout, and it felt like nothing I'd ever done before. It was a lot of fun.
I want to ask you about Ted Lasso real quick. What a great show, one of the best series of the decade for sure, and probably one of the best comedies of all time. The show wrapped up season three. We were kind of all told along the way that it was a three-season show.
Yeah.
Everything all got kind of wrapped up in a nice little bow with all the characters. Since then, they've announced that there will be a fourth season. As of now, as far as I know, you are not part of season four. Is that correct?
Well, we shall see. I know as much as you, Joe, and I know it's filming right now, but whenever they need me, I'll be there. I am a loyal supporter of AFC Richmond till I die, I guess.
Well, I want to ask you, what's your thoughts on this? When you have such a perfect show and it has a nice, perfect ending like that, and then you kind of go back to the well for one more time. There's that risk that you might undo the legacy of the show. Do you have faith in Bill Lawrence and Jason and the guys, the writing staff, that they wouldn't have come back if they didn't have an idea like we're not going to do this and screw it up?
Yeah, I think working with Jason and seeing how he thinks ahead. Obviously, I didn't know that my character was going to have the journey that that he had in season one when I got cast. I didn't know that, and I have never fully sat down and spoken to Jason about it. But I do have a hunch, thinking that very early on he knew that he wanted to do that with the character. So I just think that knowing the love and respect that they have for the storyline and for all of the characters and all of the ensemble, I have no doubt that they're gonna knock it out of the park again, And we will have our opinions, you should leave a classic as a classic. You shouldn't, you don't need to, but yeah, I just think that they seem to just keep doing it right. So they're all very talented. So I think they'll do a good job.
Well, good. We hope it's a good job. We hope we see Colin again too, because
Thank you.
what a great character. So we're almost out of time. Before we wrap up, we'll take it back to the Sisters Grimm here. What do you hope audiences take away with them when watching the Sisters Grimm?
I think one thing I learned through, reading it was just an incredible amount of like curiosity and an investigative side to the girls, which I think that as a kid I loved. And maybe I'm not too sure. I don't have a child, so but kids these days they're on their screens a lot and they're on their laptops or phones. To get out into the world and to explore, I think is what I loved about not having a tablet or a phone, and I didn't have to worry about that. I was born in 1994, so I didn't have any of that stuff back then. And I'm sure you didn't, Joe. I don't know how old you are, but maybe maybe you were born in 1994. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I think that's a great thing, right? To just go out and explore, and you get to see that in the Sisters Grimm.
Awesome. Well, you're going to hear Billy as Puck and in the Sisters Grimm. All episodes drop on Apple TV Plus starting Friday, October 3rd. Billy, thanks so much for chatting with us today on Cherry
Thanks.
TV.
Cheers.
Welcome to Fairyport Landing.
Whoa! Sabrina! Daphne! The fairy tale characters you've read about are real, and your ancestors brought them to live here in Fairyport Landing.
Whoa! There's so many ever-afters here.
I'm afraid you're going to start learning the truth about your parents.
We're descended from the Brothers Grimm?
Girls, were there red handprints on the car the night your parents disappeared? I know it's connected to whomever summoned this giant. If we figure that out, we might find your parents too.
Mom, Dad, I'm coming to get you.
Like it or not, you're special.
Now we're ready for anything. Daphne, this is all connected to Mom and Dad somehow. We'll find out why. Together.
We are Grimms.
Wow.
It is in your blood. You are the writer of your own stories.
I always knew we were meant for adventure.